Hello, everyone. Welcome into the NFHS Network. Lanier versus Chattahoochee, the 6A boys in the GHSA. We set the scene here in the Macon Centerplex in Macon, Georgia. Terrence, we've got a great game ahead. Alongside Terrence Hill, I'm Luke Winstel. Lanier comes in with 26 wins, Chattahoochee 24. How do you see this game unfolding today?
I just see a high tempo, and the thing is, both teams have 4 seniors in the starting lineup, and I can only imagine how the conversations went when they were freshmen. It was probably like, man, I can't wait till they become seniors. Fast forward 3 years, they're seniors, the stage is set, and it's made for legends to be made.
Well, the away team today, both teams playing in a neutral site here in Macon, but the away team's Chattahoochee. They are probably the hottest shooting team in the state of Georgia. Yeah. They're going to score points. They put up 71 a game. Not many teams can score with Chattahoochee, but they have allowed 61. What does their team look like coming in?
It just looks like a lot of offensive stuff. You're going to get your defensive end, and you're going to find momentum on your defense and offense from the defense. But mainly it's just going to be offensive. 3 points, 2-pointers, and not a bad shooting free throw team.
Well, the best player on their team is their shortest player, A.J. White. He comes in standing about 5'10", but he can do things that you don't see often on this level.
I tell you, A.J. White, he probably will say, you know what, measurement is not about my height. Measure me by my heart. A.J. White can put up baskets. He likes to get to that free throw line. One dribble pull up, he's going to knock it down, and he's explosive going to the hole, but mainly it's the heart that he's going to bring here today, and you're going to be able to see it.
And White's a 3-star point guard. He's got 7 offers. He's someone to watch. He's a little bit like Sharif Cooper, and I know that's a lot to say, but the way that he plays, he's very smooth. He can score at ease. He's confident. He's comfortable. He's calm. He's got some attributes, and that's what makes his game so good.
Absolutely, man. Once you have that fluid player that can move the ball and you can break a defender down one-on-one without the help of anyone, you have something special, and he has it.
He's racked up the points in his career. If he has 10 points today, he'll become Chattahoochee's all-time leading scorer in their program history, and he's only a junior. Now we'll talk about this Lanier team coming in. The Longhorns, coached by Coach Brandon Mayweather. Their school's only been around for 10 years, but their program here is top-notch.
Of course, and you know, when you have a program like this, and he's built the culture of this team, the tradition, it says a lot. Every time you step on the court, you know what you're playing for and who before you that paved this way for you.
And now Andrew McConnell for Lanier, the point guard, probably the best shooter or one of the best shooters in the Georgia class of 2021.
He is, and this is why I say he was the player to watch, because you always have that 1 or 2 player that everyone is going to watch for. If McConnell can come in and add that third element to the team offensively, they can find themselves as victory and hoisting the trophy today.
McConnell will play alongside Sion James in a dynamic duo. Now, Terrence, we'll take a look at our keys to the game between these two teams. We'll begin with Chattahoochee.
Chattahoochee, if you can limit the long passes, the game before they made a long passes that got intercepted, limit those. And also make me a believer. You're going to have to knock 3-pointers down before I extend my defense for Lanier. Get it going downhill, not side to side. Get it going towards the basket. That's when you're effective. And also you're going to push up long step. What I mean is once you see that screen coming, push up on the offensive player, step strong through that screen, and don't allow yourself to be screened to prevent AJ from turning the corner.
Well, now as we get set for tip-off, the starters are being announced on the floor. They begin with Lanier and their lineup that's led by Sion James and Andrew McConnell. Now we have the national anthem coming on the NFHS Network. We rejoin you on the NFHS Network. Chattahoochee and their starting lineup: A.J. White, Franklin Bailey, Cameron Sheffield, Jahari Williams, and David McDaniel. Terrence, one player that stands out when both of us were going back and looking at the film from the semifinal game for Chattahoochee, their center, David McDaniel, kind of went crazy, had 4 blocks in the game. He dominated.
He did dominate, not only on the defensive end. He was knocking down the mid-range shot, something that you don't see in the game a lot. In this era is the mid-range, and he was coming down free throw line, getting into the teeth of the defense and knocking it down.
You see Cam Sheffield introduced. He is a Rice signee. He'll be going on to play there. He is a senior, 6'7", guard/forward. This Chattahoochee team does have the height to play a guy like Cameron Sheffield as a guard type of player. He's part of the shooting lineup that makes this team so much of a threat from outside.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those like the 2-3-headed monsters, and this is what you see. Sheffield just adds to it, and he has that arsenal offensively to give you a little bit of everything. You need that bucket easily. He's just a walking bucket.
Well, here's McConnell, who we talked about in our pregame show previously, and he'll come on with Sion James, Goran Uzanov, Ija Phillips, and Ryan Johnson. Ija Phillips is a guy to watch coming in. He's a very athletic guard. He contributes both ways, and he's huge in a man-to-man pressure look on the defensive side.
He's huge. It's one of those tangibles and intangibles with him. And I tell you, he's athletic, but if you don't watch out and you put yourself under that basket and you let him get that full speed, he will try to dunk on you in a heartbeat because he is very athletic and explosive off the jump.
Now, Ryan Johnson jogs out there. He is most of the post presence for a guard-oriented Lanier team. And you can't talk about Lanier without talking about Sion James. He's primed for a smooth transition to the next level where he will be playing at Tulane, where he's signed. He's got a 4.0 GPA. He's a playmaker first, but he gets to the rim really better than anyone you see in high school basketball.
I didn't hear you. Did you say a man amongst boys? Because that's exactly what he is. He is a man out there. Physically, he looks bigger, stronger, but he can't. That doesn't mean that he can't be contained. And I tell you, I think they're going to focus on containing him and see if they can get the ball out of his hands.
McDaniel and Johnson will tip it off. That'll be a fun matchup to watch. Both of these teams lean on their guards more for scoring, but down low, both of them will be relied on to make an impact, especially protecting the rim.
And I'll tell you, to start it off, I'm going to give you this description, okay? It's one of my favorite games to play. It's called Spades. And what it is what you need in a championship caliber team. You need at least two and a strong P. Fortunately, both Chattahoochee and Lanier possess this luxury. The strong P will flourish like in the interim parts of the game, in the in-between. And if you can't find like McConnell that can flourish, you can see your way to the victory here today.
A.J. White on the ball. He has come a long way. He nears the 2,000-point mark in his career. He's well over 1,700. Sheffield gets inside, chucks it off the window and in.
It's that right hand. If what you're going to do, you have to eliminate that right hand. He likes to go to his right and score a lot. And once he does, he gets going. You don't want him to get going because once he does, he scores in volume.
McConnell, a shooter to keep an eye on. He pops a three, and he nails it to begin. The first bucket for Lanier comes from a tray of Andrew McConnell.
And that's why I chose him as the player of the game, because he has that clipper. Someone that has a clipper like that is hard to guard because you never know when he's going to pull up and knock it down.
Phillips into Johnson. He finishes on the left side. A.J. White brings it down the floor. A fast-paced game early between these two teams. White goes around a pick. Sheffield, White, and Bailey all shoot it well for Chattahoochee.
If you're Chattahoochee, you don't want to start your offense so far out. See if you can push it closer to the three-point line, because that allows A.J. coming off that screen to get to the basket easier. But if you start your offense out so far, then you give the defense time to collapse and help.
Bailey has it poked away from him. It's into the backcourt. McConnell and McDaniel dive for it. Bailey comes up with it. White crosses over, sends it outside.
And I like this matchup with Phillips, and you have White. Phillips is just a great defensive player on ball, and in 5 seconds that he created, but he's a great on-ball defender.
Phillips is someone that I think you want on A.J. White because of his athleticism. You want to get that matchup and have a bigger, stronger player try to get A.J. off of his game, but I'll tell you right now, there's not many players in this entire state that have been able to get A.J. off of his game.
Yeah, no. What you're going to have to do, though, Phillips, with him being so athletic, as you see McConnell lines up another, you're going to have to start sending some pick and roll to free him up. You can't allow Phillips just play on him one-on-one. Get some pick and rolls and see if you can get a switch on that.
A drive from Sheffield on the right side. He draws a little contact. It's out of bounds. It'll stay here. Chattahoochee ball. Chattahoochee's coached by Chris Short in his third year. They've had 61 wins in his 3 years. They're looking for his first state championship. Chattahoochee's playing in their first ever state championship game. White thought about pulling up. Sheffield nails a three. A 3 early for Chattahoochee, and we're tied up at 5.
Right on time. You can't let this get out of control quick, fast. And Sheffield's 3 that time was right on time, but you can't allow Lanier to come back and answer your 3.
Johnson nails it from long range. Good answer.
And this is the modern day basketball where you have that 4 that trails a lot but can shoot. A lot of times in the past, you have that trail guy who can then dish it to the wing. Now that 4 is pulling up and knocking it down.
White drills a 3, a back-to-back-to-back threes between these two teams.
Anything you can do, I can do better. And I tell you, White lined that up and knocked it down. Now if you're Chattahoochee, getting a defensive stop, Lanier, you want to find James to see if you can get him in rotation.
Anytime you give A.J. White an open 3, you can count yourself out on that possession. Sion James drives and kicks. Phillips has it blocked away at the rim. Jahari Williams got up there. A.J. White.
Yeah.
White called for a travel.
It's just boom, boom play. You know what? Sheffield, I'm lining it up. Coach, I can shoot, so somebody's going to have to guard me. And he lined it up and knocked it down. But on the defensive end, you're going to have to bring the same intensity. You're going to have to step up and prevent them from knocking those 3s down.
Phillips in and out on the corner 3, rebounded by Sheffield.
You know, Phillips didn't get open because somebody missed an assignment. Phillips got open because Chattahoochee went and looked at the game film, and they noticed that Phillips is not a three-point shooting type of player. So they're going to leave him open, and they're going to have the player that's on him stay in the lane just for extra help.
Well, your key to the game for Chattahoochee, make you believe. Yeah. Have they done that well enough yet?
Absolutely, man. You're going to have to make me believe. I'm not going to extend my defense until you make me believe. And now, with you missing it, I might not come out until you make 2 or 3 of them.
Sheffield drives, has it stripped away, but a foul called on the floor.
You know, you put yourself in a situation that's not favorable to the referee because it's all about the angle that the referee has. As soon as you drop your hands at a defender, it's hard for referees not to call a foul a lot of times. And I think that's what happens to McConnell in that last possession.
McDaniel misses on the mid-range J. He went 3 for 3 early in that semifinal game from 15-foot range. We know he's got a good stroke.
Oh, absolutely.
McConnell draws contact.
Charge
called. That's right, Terrence, and drawn by Sheffield.
And that's number 2 on McConnell, so he may find himself on the bench right now.
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
But it might not be long until McConnell goes on the bench. You've got 2 fouls in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and they're going to need him going down the stretch, especially in the second half. So I don't expect him to stay on the court for too much time in this first quarter.
Chattahoochee will inbound on the far side of the court. Got a quick stoppage in play. Now it's into Bailey. Keep an eye on Bailey. He's the number 3 scoring option. He is a knockdown shooter. I know we can say that about a lot of players on the floor for Chattahoochee. It's turned over. Phillips going with it in transition. Around the world layup goes.
Athleticism to then contort your body, get around the defender up in the air, finish it strong with your right. But just the adjustment that he made in the air, it shows why he's athletic, and get him out on a break. It's a good remedy to have and good possession for Lanier.
Phillips drives it ahead. Euro step move. He couldn't finish. Now Chattahoochee with Williams going the other way. White's on the right side. Yes, sir! A.J. White knocks it down from 3.
Hey, I'm going to say it again. You don't measure A.J. White off of his height. Please don't. You measure this man off his heart. He has the heart of a lion, and I tell you right now, he's showing it as he now creates a turnover for Chattahoochee. He's doing a little bit of everything for his team.
McConnell called for a carry, and now McConnell will exit the game in favor of Connor Mercantil. Kind of what we would have expected.
Yeah, you can't keep him. You can't keep a shooter on the court with 2 fouls.
Well, now it looks like for Lanier, when they get back on the offensive side, Sion James will likely take over some point guard and ball handling duties. Keep an eye out for that. We haven't seen much of him yet. McDaniel fouled on the way to the rim.
And one of the keys where if you're Chattahoochee, you have to limit your long passes. In the last 2 games, they've had a lot of long passes, cross-court passes that got intercepted. And this last time on his full-court press, you saw a couple long-court passes. If Lanier's able to get in those passing lanes, they can then go into transition for some easy baskets.
McDaniel at the stripe, a 6'7" center. He's a good rim protector, a good rebounder. Also scores about 10 points per game. He's fairly well-rounded. Had 18 points in that semifinal game that I think both of us kind of have dubbed as a breakout game for him.
Oh, yeah.
He's put together a good season, but a lot of people that watch that game and have followed Chattahoochee have not seen him play quite like he did in that semi-game.
Yeah. He came out and, him knocking down those mid-range shots. You may not see it this game, but he was hot from the mid-range. And I would say at least 10 to 12 points came from the mid-range area last game for McDaniels.
Sion James getting one of his first looks of the afternoon. It's off and rebounded by number 22, Gil Matondo.
So if you're Lanier, you know that Chattahoochee is trying to force James out to the three-point line as he comes up with a steal. You want to see if you can get some plays that's going towards the basket for James because he's not a three-point threat as well.
Phillips puts it in. There's Ija Phillips, again a wild card today. He's not a shooter. Sion James not as much of a shooter either. But both of those two are going to be looking for driving lanes all afternoon long.
They are, and as you see this replay, it's just a spin move. Phillips been athletic going over the bigger guy, but it's just that's the athleticism to get it up over the bigger guy.
McConnell replaces James. They're tied up at 12. We expected good shooting, and I think we've gotten everything we've expected to this point. Send to A.J. White. He just visited your alma mater, Kennesaw State. McDaniel can't knock home a 15-footer.
I tell you, that the hot shooting from McDaniels has translated over to this game. He wants to see if he's still hot from that mid-range. After a couple misses, see if you can go back inside because maybe you're not as hot from the mid-range as last game.
White fouled on the floor. A.J. White is so quick. He's got a great first step quickness. It's ridiculous.
And his balance, too, even with that bump, for him to absorb that bump and still get the basket up, it's not like he got knocked off balance too much, but he has strength in his legs to stay on balance. And he doesn't look, if you physically just look at him, he's smaller, so you don't expect that. But A.J. White, he's something to watch.
Sheffield. Drive and kick. White, Bailey. Straightaway three for Franklin Bailey.
And Lanier, you got to put a hand up in the body on this guy when he takes that three. The last game, right before halftime, I want to say Bailey had a huge three to tie the game up, and he's going to try to get those threes again and float on that three-point line.
Uzanov over to Phillips. Bailey is that piece for Chattahoochee that puts their offense over the top. Phillips misses short off the rim. Out of bounds, Lanier ball.
I'm going to say it again. You're going to have to make me out a believer. And you're going to see this. You're going to see this three-pointer in the replay. It's just Bailey squaring up, and that's his spot. Regardless of the bump, he knocked it down. But he's going to float around that three-point line to see if he can get open. So it's so important that you keep someone attached to him at all times.
James finds McConnell. Lanier has 10 seconds to work with. Coach Brandon Mayweather calling the play.
And he's going to have McDaniels on him off of this switch right now. And he has the advantage.
McConnell can't knock it down at the buzzer. Chattahoochee through one, up 15-12 here on the NFHS Network.